scene opens with a serene, yet slightly ominous view of the Sea of Galilee. The water is calm, but the sky is a deep, moody blue. A simple wooden boat cuts through the water, heading towards a rugged, isolated shoreline dotted with caves and ancient tombs. Imagine crossing a sea, leaving the familiar behind, and stepping onto a shore that feels different, a little wild, a little unsettling. That's where our story begins. Jesus and his disciples had just crossed the Sea of Galilee and landed in a region called Gadarenes. This wasn't their usual territory. It was a place on the edge, known for its rocky hills and old burial caves carved into the landscape. As they stepped out of the boat, the air grew still. The usual sounds of life were missing. Instead, a sound that was barely human echoed from the tombs. It was a cry of pure agony. And then they saw him, a man, his body weathered by the elements. His eyes holding a storm of pain and chaos came rushing towards them. He lived among the dead, in the cold, empty tombs. He was an outcast, feared by everyone. People had tried to restrain him, to chain him up, but no chains could hold him. He would shatter them, driven by a force that wasn't his own. Night and day, he would wander the hills, his cries a constant reminder of his torment. But as this man, this force of nature, ran towards Jesus, something shifted. He didn't attack. He fell to his knees, and a voice, loud and desperate, ripped from his throat, but it didn't sound entirely like his own. "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torture me." Think about that for a moment. This man, who had broken iron chains, was now on the ground before Jesus, begging. The power he was subject to recognized a greater power. Jesus looked at him, not with fear, but with a deep, penetrating compassion. He spoke to the turmoil inside the man with a simple, direct question. "What is your name?" The answer that came back was chilling. "My name is Legion," the voice said, "for we are many, Legion." In those days, a Roman legion was thousands of soldiers. This one word revealed the scale of the man's inner battle. He wasn't just fighting one demon. He was a battlefield for a whole army of them. He had lost himself completely. Nearby, a large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. The voice, Legion, begged Jesus again, "Send us among the pigs. Allow us to go into them." Jesus simply said, "Go." And what happened next must have been terrifying to watch. A wave of unseen energy seemed to rush from the man towards the pigs. The entire herd, about 2,000 of them, suddenly went wild. They stampeded down the steep bank, straight into the sea, and were drowned. The man, once a whirlwind of chaos, was now perfectly still. The storm in his eyes was gone. It was just quiet, that piece. The men who had been tending the pigs were stunned. They ran off to the nearby towns and countryside, telling everyone what they had seen. And soon, a crowd started to gather. They came cautiously, expecting to see the wild man they all feared. But that's not what they found. They found Jesus, and sitting with him was the man. He was dressed, he was calm, and he was completely in his right mind. The man they had all given up on was whole again. You would think this would be a moment of celebration. But the people were afraid. The power they had just witnessed was too much for them. It was beyond their understanding. And so they asked Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus got back into the boat, the man who had been healed begged to go with him. He wanted to stay with the one who had saved him. But Jesus had a different plan for him. "Go home to your own people," Jesus told him, "and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man did. He went back into the very towns where he had once been a figure of terror, and he began to tell his story. He became a messenger of hope, a living testament to a power that could bring peace to the most tormented soul. His story spread everywhere, and all who heard it were amazed. This story isn't just about a dramatic exorcism. It's a story about seeing the person behind the pain. It's about the idea that no one is ever too far gone, too broken, or too lost to be reached. It is a powerful reminder that even when we feel like we're fighting an army of our own demons, a single word of hope and authority can change everything, bringing us out of the tombs and back into the light.